The Blackmagic Video Assist 12G HDR is a video monitor and a recorder in one package, and that combination makes it very versatile. So versatile that I want to show you a couple of things you can do with this piece of gear which you would normally won't do, but there are also a couple of things it can't do, and I'm hoping that these features will be added very soon. So first of all, it's a video monitor and it has a great screen. It's 1080 by 1920, it's a HD resolution, but it can show 4K of course, and it has 2500 nits of luminance, so it's perfect for HDR. It's very color accurate. It has a color spectrum of DCI-P3, so the new sRGB rating, and it works very well for monitoring your video while you're recording, but you can also of course use it as a second monitor or for other purposes, just to check how the image looks. So visually it's a perfect screen. As you can already see here, there are a lot of extra functions in here to check your image, if it's very bright or if it's clipping or if it's not in focus. So you have these focus assist functions, but there are also 4 scopes in here. So with one swipe you can move away the control panel, and here on top you'll see the extra video assist functions. This is the zebra function to check your exposure, so even after recording you can check this. That's the same with focus assist. And this is nice when recording, you can have a guide for the aspect ratio you are shooting for. Same with the grids. And this is what you see more and more, this is false color, also very handy for exposure when looking at color. So there are some extra function if you want to change the image, what you're looking at, and that's well, a handy feature is that you can really brighten it up to 2500 nits, but you can also bring that down, and that will be very good for your battery life to 100 nits. In this way, 2500 nits, it will get very hot, so maybe it's very wise to put it somewhere in between. So for the scopes, that's the same thing. You can choose 4 scopes, and the most famous one is of course the waveform. What I like about this is that you can also still see the image below, so you see that it's like a horizontal presentation of the luminance. These are the blacks, these are the whites, and it's not clipping at the moment in the whites. There's a lot of blacks here of course, and you can have some control on the overlay and the opacity, and you can even see a small version of your video. So this is the famous waveform, but you can also have that in 3 colors, so the RGB waveform, and which I also like very much is the vector, because you can have a real zoom function in here. And lastly, the histogram, so you can see there is a lot of blacks clipping here. So this is perfect for viewing your scopes against the image. So when recording you can choose 2 inputs, the SDI input or the HDMI, and you have the choice of 3 codecs. And the famous one is of course DNx HR, it's used by Adobe. Then we have ProRes, which is mostly used by Apple, and Blackmagic RAW, which is almost not used by anyone but Blackmagic, and I think there are 2 cameras who are using Blackmagic RAW. But if you go back to, let's say, ProRes, you have quality versions, so Proxy and LT are low quality recordings, so perfect for, let's say, streaming, if you want to record your streaming all day long. But if you want to go for high quality, you choose HQ of course, and it will take up much more of your camera recording cards, and in the end you can record up to 2160p 60 frames. So this Video Assist 12G HDR is also a recorder, and this is the menu where you decide what to record to, so the medium, and you can have 2 SD cards. I have one connected now at the moment, but there are 2 SD card slots, so that's for a backup if one burns, and that can happen. And of course there is a new feature which I like really much. This is the USB-C connection, USB-C 3.1, which is really fast. It's powered, so you can have just this small SD hard disk in here, and this is like 500 gigabytes, so you can have a lot of storage for these high quality recordings. What I like the most of this version of the Video Assist, because there are more versions, there's a 5-inch version, there's a no HDR version, but this version, the 7-inch 12G, has some extra inputs, namely 2 XLR inputs. Well, mini XLR, but you can have a small adapter to it, so you can connect microphones to it, and even with phantom power. So, and those are really nice microphone inputs. They sound really good. But also, if you want to record more channels of audio, that's possible via SDI. It can record up to 16 channels of audio. If you want to check your audio while recording or even while playing video, you can just have it on screen. You see the loudness of it. There are 2 meters, but there's also a small speaker in here. So you can check it like this, and if you want to use your headphones, there's a headphone out and you can set the level for that here. So besides the power adapter, you can also use batteries, and these are standard Sony NPF batteries. There are 2 slots, so you can of course still use one, but if this one drains, you can put in the next one and still go on with recording, remove this one and get a next one in here. So you could record all day if you want to, and you need a lot of batteries because it's draining a lot of power. It's about 30 minutes on one battery. So I have this Panasonic G9 here, and I'm recording in, it's in the V-Log setting, and as you know, it's when you have a preview of V-Log, it doesn't show what you can actually do with it, all the colors it has. So there is a 3D LUTs function in here, and there's even a V-Log to V709 setting. So when I set it on the image, you get this colorful screen. So this is the way it could look on your editing set, but it's not recorded this way. And if you like this setting, because there are even more 3D LUT settings for different kind of cameras, you can export this setting and use it in your editing program, and you can even import 3D LUTs. So this is a really nifty feature. Small detail, but there's a small tally light here. So when I press record, you will see the red light, the red button for recording. And normally you don't see that anymore on camera. So when you're recording in a setup and you have this Video Assist nearby, you can use this tally light, and then you will know that there is a recording being made. Okay, so now you've seen there is a good monitor here. There are all these kinds of scopes and extra assist features. There are a lot of inputs. It even has a very good mic input, so for audio recording it's great. So you have all these recording functions and you have all these playback functions. But when you think of it and when you're using it, there are lots of possibilities. Just a small thing now, if you are recording on a smartphone, and nowadays there are a lot of professional recordings done with a smartphone, but you want to check your image, you can also use the HDMI of your smartphone with this assist, and you can have a good look if you're not clipping, or if you're in focus even. Also, the recorder is not only for recording camera stuff, you can also use it in a different kind of situation. What about gaming? You can use your gaming console, have it in here, even use the throughput to go to your regular monitor, but you can record everything you're doing and not have this heavy recording done in your computer. What we also do for Blu-rays, when we have 25 frames recordings in the Netherlands and we want to use it abroad, so in the United States, we need a 29.97 frame rate conversion. And normally we did this with the Terranex and then with 2 computer setups, but when you're recording like 2 hours, there will always be one frame dropping or there's a problem with the disc or something. This is a really good recorder, but also a really good player. It's really steady. So even if you would have 2 of these, or just a camera and one, and you have the Terranex in between, you can use this as a recorder for that. So this thing is really versatile, and I'm exploring more options every day with it. But there are some things I would like to do also with it which are not possible at the moment, and there are some other quirks. So people are talking about the latency, that is very low, but I didn't have that experience, at least not with my G9 here. So in the display here, when I'm moving something, you'll see that the video assist is a little late in that. It's not very inconvenient, but it's not fast either. When I recorded something on the G9, it would be great if I could have a look in here and just to see how my recordings have been made, just to check and maybe decide already what to take or not to take. So I put the Lumix SD card in here, and you can see it sees this SD card, but there are no clips in here because it's not in the format of the video assist. And it would be great if there was something like a file menu that I could just use it. Even something like photos. If you made some photos, this is a very small screen. This is a calibrated DCI-P3 screen, so I want to check my photos in here. Not possible at the moment. Okay, of course it's great that you can move the nits from 100 to 2500, and of course 2500 will take up a lot of energy. It will get hot, and if you do this too long, it will show an exclamation point, and then it will just go to dimming function itself. It would be great if there was something like a display sleep. If you could just press very shortly on the standby button that my display is off, then it's not so power consuming, and even it won't get that hot, and it can still record. So that's an option that they should add. So it's unavoidable, you need to cool this thing, and they have a fan on the back. But the fan makes noise and it sounds like this. And although it's unavoidable, it's still pretty annoying when you're doing recordings when it needs to be very quiet and you hear this fan in the back when you're doing like a vlog or something. And you can filter it out, but it would have been great if there was no fan at all. So you have these great 2 mic inputs and they really sound lovely. But there is no way to record audio without video. You always need a video input. Why would you need to record audio only? Well, maybe some extra Foley on location, or maybe you want to record a podcast because you know the software is here, the quality of the audio is here, but you can't record audio only in a WAV format. And that's also the case, of course, when playback. It would be a great audio player just to have some audio in here, to check it, to play it in high resolution via HDMI in digital version or via SDI. So there's no recording or audio only playback possibility at the time, and that would be a nice feature for this. So Blackmagic doesn't advertise this as a video playback machine. It's a video recorder, but as you can see, it can playback video, and it's a good video player. It's very steady, but it's only the videos in the timeline, well, actually the videos you recorded. If you want to look at other videos, you can put them on the SSD hard disk, but then you need to have them in the same format as the video you already recorded. And that's kind of annoying. I want to have like a file system with more of the video I have on the disk, and maybe even have some functions like markers in the video, or that I can decide if I want to use the video or not, or maybe make some edit points. There could be done more with the playback function of this. So one feature Blackmagic could probably easily add to is the guidelines, because I'm missing one guideline. It's 16 by 9, it's 14 by 9, you have 4 by 3, but you don't have 9 by 16. So when you're shooting for video, which should be used in 16 by 9, but you also need it to be compatible with 9 by 16. Let's say have a look at Kiwi, because they also have dual video functions. Then you want these extra guidelines here. It would be great to have it here. So Blackmagic, one extra update please. So I already told you there's no file system in here. You can only see what's connected. So I have an SD card in here. I have this this SSD hard drive. This is from a client. This is my original SD card. He wants to take already the video with him. I want to make a copy from this SD card to this, but that's not possible. And I think it should be just one function instead of format, that there is also a thing like copy and choose your files, of course. So we have this USB connection to connect these small disks, and that's great. You can also connect your computer to do some firmware updates, but what's not possible and what would be great is to use this USB connection to make it a video interface, to playback, let's say, SDI to a monitor, or even to record some SDI into your computer with 16 channels of audio. The HDMI output is like a throughput, so what you put in there, you can see it directly coming out of here. But it's also the same when you do some playback from the video here. You will see the playback of the original recording. So even with the 3D LUTs, you will see without the 3D LUTs. But it would be great if you could choose if it's a throughput or really an output, because in that case you could also use the scopes on a big screen for everyone. Okay, so there are two battery connections in the back, and that's great because you can use one and maybe charge a second battery, replace the one you're already using. And so this switching works well, and if you have the charger with you, perfect. But if you don't have a charger with you and you only have this power connection, it's not charging the battery, and that would have been great. I know it's probably very difficult to do, or you need some extra power in there, but it would have been handy. So I already mentioned a lot of features, and I'm still, connecting the dots because there are so many possibilities with this thing. But I also mentioned a couple of things which aren't there, well, not on the spot yet, but it's running on software, and Blackmagic is coming with a lot of firmware updates. So maybe in the future we'll see a function of recording audio only, or maybe even charging batteries. I don't know if that's possible via software. What I do know is that it's really versatile, and it's like Pandora's box. There's coming all things out of it. So I really dig this Video Assist 12G HDR.